So I have been reporting on League of Maidens ever since June 2019, and let me tell you, the sheer amount of progress the developers have made on that game is incredible. Every month they find the time to push out hundreds of updates, bringing their game ever closer to early access. And that is what I want to talk about today, or that is one of the things I want to talk about today. Their early access release. I know you've all been waiting to play the game, and you know what? You're finally going to be able to. Sooner than you might think if all goes according to plan. Before I go into further detail regarding the early access though, I do want to address some of the updates that they've made to the game. On the left, you'll see how the game looked back during the middle of 2019. And while the game didn't look bad by any stretch of the imagination, you can tell that the game was definitely in a highly unfinished state. This is why you have to be careful when looking at games during the early stages of development. They can change quite drastically over time. On the right, however, you'll see quite a vast improvement. You'll notice that not only do the characters move much more fluidly, but even the combat itself looks much faster, much more responsive, and much more intuitive. The character movements and combat animations are not the only things that had improvements made to them though. The game overall itself has been overhauled with so many additions that it doesn't even look like the same game anymore. There's just so much more to it than I had first thought. During my earlier videos, all I had access to was the basic public PvE and PvP footage. Not nearly enough to get a full picture of what the game would be, the kind of game that the devs wanted it to be. However, after talking to the devs some more through Discord and obtaining some absolutely fantastic footage of the game, I believe I now have a much clearer grasp of what the vision for the game actually is. League of Maidens is built with multiplayer functionality in mind. This is what it is at its core, an online multiplayer action RPG. However, during the early alpha stages, the game will not have a functional multiplayer. Much like how MMOs are built and go through the process of development and continue adding features over the course of the development cycle, such as guilds, player housing, and even PvP. Despite the game not being multiplayer friendly initially, there will be plenty of multiplayer features available in-game, with more potentially being added over time as the game continues to move closer to fully launching. So yeah, while this game will not be an MMORPG, and while it does aim to be much closer to an MMO once it launches, currently, right this moment, cooperative play will still be limited. Although, speaking of it being an MMO, like most MMOs, the game actually has a fully fleshed out class system. It features the assassin, the healer, the sorceress, the tank, and the warrior. And while I can't get in-game currently due to not having direct access to it, we do get to see some of the classes, or at least one of the classes, in action while sitting through all this footage. Each class has their own custom animations, gear, and will allow players to actively swap out skills, creating interesting hybrids to utilize. If those updates didn't whet your appetite, then I don't think anything I say henceforth really will. But for anyone else interested, let's talk about the early access. I was speaking to the Maiden gaming team through Discord, and they let me in on their current planned roadmap. They recently compiled a new build implementing over 150 different changes, some of them adding entire mechanics to the game. The build after this is going to be targeting optimization and bug fixes, something that anyone that has played a head start or early access will no doubt know is one of the most important processes to run through prior to opening the game to the public. Those are the two final stages left of development prior to early access, with new builds releasing every month. What this means for us, for you, is that League of Maidens, if everything goes according to plan, will be fully playable sometime during July or August at the latest. Mid-July is what they're targeting specifically, but setbacks happen naturally, so it's probably expecting a little too much to believe this will go over as smoothly as everyone would like it to. That is, after all, why you go ahead and you give estimates like this. Now, I have always been a fan of League of Maidens. I was one of their early vocal supporters on YouTube. This game, it really does look too good to be true, and I cannot wait to see where it ultimately ends up. It is a superhero-themed online action RPG that we desperately need to launch as soon as possible. The market needs it. But this is my opinion, my impressions of the game. What do you guys think though? Let me know down in the comments below, and let's talk about it. Anyway guys, that is it for me. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.
Someday soon, I'm gonna make it.